Yes, the 90s had grunge. Yes, the 2020s has Texas gaze, Texas shoegaze, if you don't understand what I'm saying. In my last video, I talked about Texas having insane bands. This time, I want to talk about the state that Title Fight originated, the place where Alex G originated, the place where Superheaven originated. It seems like Pennsylvania has an insane record of amazing bands. And no, we don't have Title Fight anymore. And yes, we do have Alex G and Superheaven, but I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to talk about the bands that are coming up out of Pennsylvania right now, because there's so many bands out there, man, and it's quite insane looking at my notes right now. Also, when I made a video on bands from Pennsylvania on TikTok, I got a lot of comments saying, why do you say Pennsylvania like that? I don't know how else to pronounce Pennsylvania. I'm from California. I don't know. How do you say it? I know people say PA, so whatever it is, Pennsylvania, PA, that's what we're talking about. And yes, I will admit, I am an idiot. I am getting more educated on states because of bands and stuff. And, education wasn't really for me. I was kind of stupid. Did graduate high school, but for the longest time, I thought Philadelphia was its own state. It's not. It's in Pennsylvania. Jesus. Man, so that's probably not giving you any confidence whatsoever when I'm going to talk about these bands, and you're probably going to be like, dang, this dude probably has nothing for me. This dude has no idea what he's talking about. And I do. Just chill out. I had to be honest for a second, man. I can't be lying to you. So yeah, my focus is going to be on bands that are like sort of newish, like past 5 years type of thing that are coming up right now from Pennsylvania. Now, let me start off this list with the band Bleary Eyed. For a while, one of my favorite bands who is from Philly right now. This band is heavy on glitchy, fuzzy, computer-like noise shoegaze, but it sounds way more fun and amazing. The way they capture their sound is honestly some of the most refreshing shoegaze you'll hear out of the whole shoegaze revival of today. And whenever you listen to this band, the main objective seems to be the vocals and the melodies with the vocals. And I've said this before in previous videos, but when shoegaze is being made today, a lot of bands tend to hide the vocals or blend it in. I don't want to say hide, but they incorporate it with the sound. So it's more of a vibe going on instead of focusing on what the singer and what the band is saying. And with Bleary Eyed, they kind of focus on both things sometimes, but mainly I feel like they do appreciate the melody making, the harmonies and all that with the vocals. I'm real excited for their new album whenever that comes out. I already like the music that they have out, and it's more than enough for me to chill out and, listen to Bleary Eyed, but new tunes are always appreciated, and I feel like it's going to be amazing. Full Body 2 is the next band, and this band, wow. Speaking of refreshing shoegaze, it's like Pennsylvania has some serious, inspired by video game, fuzzy, computer, electronic, humongous distortion music within every person there for some reason. And then they release that music into the world. So it kind of makes the world a better place, I feel like. Full Body 2 has an enormous sound, an enormous computer sound, but, I like to think of it like they're creating music you would find yourself listening to while you were, teleporting through different dimensions. That's kind of how I listen to Full Body 2. I'm teleporting. It almost seems like too much is going on, but with Full Body 2, there's not a lot going on if you just listen to the music. It's really simple, but it's really different at the same time, and a lot of bands are kind of doing it too nowadays, specifically in Pennsylvania, but I feel like Full Body 2 does it the best, and their vision is a lot clearer than other bands. Not that I'm hating on bands right now, but it might seem a little too chaotic, but once you simmer down and get into the groove of listening to this band, you feel like it's really good music, and that's what it is at the end of the day. Good music by Full Body 2. The next band I'm going to be shining a light on is the band Hooky. Memory music creators, this lo-fi sounding, almost like Adventure Time cartoon vocal thing. The band has such a colorful way of attacking you with all the little beautiful inklings of little pretty noises. The band has sweet vocals, and whenever I say a band makes memory music, I'm thinking of nostalgic things like a coloring book or stuff in kindergarten, just stuff in the back of your mind that you forgot about. But once you listen to this, you're like, wow, I remember that. I'm a kid. The riffs are bouncy. Everything is so jolly. That sounds stupid, but I feel like that's my best description of this fantastic band. Hooky is great. Dang, dude, I look crazy. Let's get a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more hardcore, if you will. Let's talk about the band One Step Closer. There's a lot of soft indie alternative rock stuff I got on this list, so it's only right that I have a hardcore band on here, and it's a band I actually really mess with. One Step Closer. Some fat, juicy riffs with some astronomical yelling, and whenever I listen to the vocals, I'm like, geez, dude, this dude is insane. I know some people don't like his vocals, but I do. And I say a hardcore band, and I don't know if hardcore fans are like, this is not a hardcore band, because they have little elements of other stuff going on as well. So I don't know where this band lies or whatever. So there's, aggressiveness in the vocals, so it's hardcore. Some serious analysis going on in this video. One Step Closer has a lot of songs that I feel like anybody who's trying to get into hardcore can vibe with, can rock out to, can just, what's it called, headbang. And I find myself going back to a bunch of their tunes. Let's move on to the band Her New Knife, an alternative rock band with a ton of abilities. I feel like they showcase a little bit more indie rock, and I don't know if they're classified as shoegaze because there is some shoegaze in there, but there's a bunch of jumbling going on of genres, so whenever that happens, call it alternative rock because I don't know what else to call it. A scattered sound that I'm fascinated with. The band only has a couple singles out, which I have no problem with. I don't know if anyone else has problems with that when they don't have an album. Are you mad or anything like that? I kind of don't care. I feel like whatever a band has to do to make the best album in the future, let them have time. That's how I look at it. So, yeah. I don't hear any confusion with the sound. It doesn't seem like the band has a confused, weird vision going on. They kind of know what they're doing. Seems like the band makes what they want, and it sounds very confident in the way they make it. So, a confident band, it's always a good band, sometimes. Let's move on to They Are Gutting a Body of Water, otherwise known as Tagabow, which loud band. And I haven't heard them live, but whenever I listen to sessions and stuff like that on YouTube or clips, dude, they're humongous in sound and distortion. I feel like they kind of have that darker vibe thing, aesthetic thing going on or whatever. So there's like that spooky aspect of this really fantastic sonically sounding band. There's a lot of bands out there that try to duplicate or replicate this type of sound that they have going on, but Tagabow I feel like is one of one. People my age or whatever can get into. Even people who were into like My Bloody Valentine back in the heyday of the 90s, 91 I believe. Their Audio Tree session, which I always find Audio Tree sessions interesting because it really gives you a sense of what the band's gonna sound like, look like, if you don't know what they look like. And dude, their session with Audio Tree, it was crazy, bro. I was like, geez, everybody's like focused on their instrument, focused on this mission. We have a set. Let's finish it. In all the confidence in the world. Tagabow, They Are Gutting a Body of Water. Interesting name. I kind of wonder where they got that from. I got to look that up. Let's move on to, dare I say, the next Elliott Smith / Alex G indie rocker, Greg Mendez. And saying any artist is the next big artist of whatever era is kind of crazy or whatever. I don't really care, man. I do care because we can get carried away, but I feel like I'm not getting carried away. I feel like a lot of people see the similarities between Elliott Smith, Greg Mendez, this Alex G sprinkling. Greg Mendez released an album last year, which I included in my top 10 albums of 2023, and for good reason. The indie rocker has such a calm demeanor and sad sounding vocal delivery that makes you focused on this man's music. And I haven't seen Greg Mendez live, so every time I see a session online or online, Instagram clip, YouTube, whatever, it always looks so sensitive, so intertwined with the crowd. It feels so relatable. It feels so sweet, and it's just like everybody there is one, and we're all relating. We're all trying to understand. We're all just being this one huge person who has feelings. And Greg Mendez makes you think about your feelings, makes you think about everything. So that's why Greg Mendez is on my list. Let me go back to some aggression and talk about the band Jesus Piece. I really need a little bit more hardcore aggression in this list because I feel like I'm really looking like an indie rock alternative enjoyer, but I like everything. So first album, Jesus Piece, released was 2018. Now they had one last year in 2023, and abrasive, rash, obstruction, all these words that, adjectives that are rugged and all that stuff. Stop it. Yeah, man, I feel like Jesus Piece is kind of known right now, and whatever. I wanted to talk about them, put them on this list because they're from Pennsylvania, if you didn't know, as everybody is on this list. Otherwise, they wouldn't make my list. What are we talking about? So yeah, shout out Jesus Peace. Next band up, Knifeplay. Bro, when I first listened to this band, I was quite mesmerized and left starstruck because they play their instruments to an insane level. And like I said with the Tagabow band, I watched Audio Tree sessions, and this Audio Tree session is quite literally probably the best I've seen. Sounded like movie track, soundtrack, movie track. The placement of everything was perfect, and dare I say, this is one of the best shoegaze bands you'll hear in a long time. I don't think that's crazy to say, man. I don't think that's crazy. I believe so. I think so highly of this band that my thoughts about this band are up in the clouds right now. Cocteau Twins with Fuzz, I fear. Second to last band is the band At, a folk indie rock alternative now, I feel like, because their latest EP was quite literally different than the album they released last year. So maybe an alternative rock band now, whatever. The Acoustic Game on lock. This band is a duo, and you know what, man, just listen to the album that they released last year. It made my top 10 list as well. 70s type of stuff going on, and listen to it when you're on a long drive, listen to it when there's a campfire. It's kind of that thing, man. It's kind of that sit around at a campfire with your homies, just got the acoustic guitar. I wouldn't do that. It's kind of hilarious, but very talented duo. This band has serious songwriting skills and ability that cannot be ignored. It's just really an ocean view within your ears for your brain. Latest EP was literally glitchy computer stuff. Whoa, what's going on? Very electronic. So yeah, man, this band probably has a different direction moving forward, but dude, if they add whatever to this small catalog of beautiful music, then you know what? Awesome. I'll take what I can get. This band is fantastic. How many times have I said fantastic and phenomenal and great and sensational? And the final band being Feeble Little Horse. Probably the biggest band coming up in terms of the mainstream. I feel like a lot of people in the mainstream know of this band or the album they released last year, Girl with Fish. And maybe that's because of the music, I'm guessing. I have no idea why else. The indie alternative rock band has garnered a lot of attention, and rightfully so, because that album they released was serious stuff. Some serious stuff, and very fun album to listen to. You can listen to it from the start to the finish. It's a pretty fun ride. A lot of music writers are raving about the band, or not raving, but really being positive towards the band because of the music, because of really that's it, because of the music. They're music writers. It's chaotic noise, but it's very scenery based chaotic noise that kind of makes you feel calm. So it's not really chaotic, I guess. It's really just weird. I feel like the best way to listen to them is listen to them with no expectations or understanding of what the band would sound like. So ignore everything I just said and just listen to their album Girl with Fish, start to finish. I feel like that would be like the best experience. So Feeble Little Horse ends my list. I will be adding every one of these bands in my description just in case you don't know them. I'm pretty sure you do. But if you don't, I'll help you out a little bit with a link to their Spotify. I always go back and forth with Texas and Pennsylvania in terms of my favorite bands. I feel like Texas has a little bit more aggressiveness. And, there's some aggressiveness in Pennsylvania. But with Pennsylvania, I feel like there's more like this artistic thing going on with them. They like think outside the box a little bit more, which I don't understand why. They're kind of just smart as hell. A lot of fun bands in each state. But those are the top two, I would say, that are the best with the talent coming up right now. What was that? So yeah, shout out Pennsylvania. Shout out Texas as well. Texas gays, Philly gays, Pennsylvania gays, Pennsylvania, title fight. I miss title fight. Pennsylvania rocks.